Welcome to NoSmokeTV. Today we have a very special guest, actor, songwriter, rapper, Mr. 106 in Park. Too Fast, Too Furious, Rough Rider, MC Jin in the building. What's up, Jin?
Yo, peace, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody in the No Smoke TV world, right? I know the beauty of the internet is that there's no telling who or where this might reach. So shout out to everybody, man. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming by. Let's start off with your upbringing. I see you grew up in Miami. How was that?
Yeah, I didn't really think too much about it when I was a kid, but now that I'm like a grown man, right? Like I got my own family, I done been through all of the twists and turns of life. I think being born in Miami and growing up in Miami was something that was a real blessing, so just the fact that it was such a diverse place, like the specific neighborhood that I was in, it was in North Miami Beach, which I spent essentially the first 20 years of my life. Like I moved away from Miami right around 2001. So I was like 19 at the time, approaching 20. But I just always think like, man, the fact that I spent the first 20 years of my life in Miami is crucial. Just being in an environment where, to be honest, growing up, there really wasn't that many Asians in my neighborhood. Really? There was some, right? Like there was like the one Chinese restaurant, or maybe the two Chinese restaurants. There was the one Chinese supermarket. And, other than that though, if we're at the mall, like, will I see Asians in the mall? Yeah. But if you compare it to like, let's say someone who grew up in New York, right? Where there's an actual Chinatown, or someone who grew up in Boston, in LA, where there's actually concentrated amount of Asians, right? It's definitely different. But on the flip side, just my area, even though it wasn't a lot of Asians, anything else you can name, they was there. So I grew up basically in an environment where there was enough Jamaicans, Haitians, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Jewish people, everything. Like you just go down the list, Ethiopians, people from Trinidad, West Indies, all of that. And I think that played a big part in just how I became a young man,
And then you moved to New York.
Yes.
Yes. And then I see you did the 106 in Park thing. What sparked? Cause I want to get straight to it. What sparked 106 in Park? Was you always like a rapper, or was that something that came to you when you came to New York? Like you was hanging out?
Great question. So 106 in Park is the quote unquote big break, right? We always hear people talk about, his big break was this, her big break was this movie or that moment. So for sure, my big break was 106 in Park on Freestyle Friday. And depending on who's watching this, just mentioning the word Freestyle Friday, they might already have a million memories, right? They have a million memories of maybe their high school years, their junior high years. But depending on who's watching this, it might not connect as much, because when I was on it, or Freestyle Fridays at its kind of earlier stages, was like 20 years ago. So I was on Freestyle Friday in 2002, roughly. So next year will actually be 20 years. And to answer your question, I think I was about 15 or so when I knew that, this is the direction I want to go with my life. As far as, at a younger age, it's a little more simplified, right? It's just like, I want to get a record deal. I want to make money. I want the fame, the girls, the cars, right? Like, so at 15, that was my end goal, right? The touchdown was getting all of that. So by the time I was 19, which is around the time the 106 in Park thing happened, I had spent like a good amount of years already kind of pursuing that. So when I say pursuing that, right, just doing all of the traditional things, going to the studio to work on demo tapes, going to talent shows. And in my case, I was battling a lot and everywhere, like just freestyle battling, rap battling, even in Miami. So when I moved to New York in 2001, it wasn't really for music reasons or career reasons. It was actually for family reasons. But at the same time, I knew that if I was gonna get it popping, so to speak, I knew it would be in New York. So I heard about an audition they had at BET to get on Freestyle Friday. Because at that time, everybody knew that if you want to battle and you want people to know you for it, there's one place that you have to do it at. Freestyle Friday. Exactly. And that opened the doors for me in a major way. So from there, actually, after winning like week 1, week 2, week 3, after 7 weeks, I also had announced that I signed with Rough Riders, so right off the top, you was like, Rough Riders, like, it was just like, it was like a fantasy, to be honest.
I remember that day.
How old are you?
I was about, you about to make me tell my age right now.
We don't need to put that out there. We don't need to put that out there.
I was about 16, 15.
Okay,
15.
we're not that far. We're not that far in our age. We're the same era. But yeah, like, so for me, just getting a deal with Double R was both the most exciting and kind of like surreal thing, you know, because I grew up on Double R, like meaning I remember being in high school, getting the X album. Yo, he dropped 2 albums in 1 year, actually. He dropped It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. I remember going to the Rough Rider Cash Money tour when they came to Miami. So just to remember all those experiences, and here now, you know, I'm signed to the label. My album is in the works. It's about to come out. You know, it was definitely like a fantasy.
Yeah, that all that hitting you at once. Like, you hit the perfect timing with Rough Rider, because they was just like, that was the Rough Rider era.
Yes, it was. And
they just,
you know, I'll piggyback off of that. It was a very specific time though, because I came at a moment where all of the big brothers, let's just say, right? Like X, Swish, the Locks, right? Everybody actually was, if we look at it like a family, so to speak, everyone was kind of going off to college, right? Like X was starting a label, Swish started a label, the Locks even started a label. But to me, I wasn't really tripping about it, because I was like, well, I'm not necessarily hoping to ride on anybody's coattails anyways, right? Like, I just want to be able to have an opportunity to establish myself. So I didn't really think too much about, yo, what's going on at the label? Because at the end of the day, Double R is Double R. Like just what that name and that legacy represents is forever embedded, right, in hip hop culture. So even right now, I think like last year they had the BET, they did like the docu-series, right, like, you know, about record labels, and they did one about Double R. And just to see that in the course of them telling that story, there's like a little, you know, 60-second part where it's like, and in 2001 they signed MC Jin, and you know, they kind of talk about my journey. I'm already like, yo, this is mind blowing, you know,
because you're part of their history forever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's real big.
Indeed.
And what about that song? You were supposed to do a song with Kanye West that never was released.
Yes. So the clear picture of that is we did a song, and it actually is on the album. So it's on the Rough Rider album. The song is called I Gotta Love. And just a little bit of backstory is that was around the time that Kanye kind of just came out as Kanye the rapper. So for a period of time, you know, I'm digging a little bit into the hip hop history, right? Because right now you think Kanye, you just think, yo, Kanye, right? Like just he's just a force, right? Beyond music, right? You think the fashion, you think the just like absolute creative genius in general.
Exactly.
But once upon a time, Kanye was just really a fire producer, right? Like everyone's just like, especially around the time that Jay dropped like the Blueprint. But even before the Blueprint, Kanye was doing tracks on Beanie Siegel's album, I remember. And so everyone knew about this producer Kanye, but then, you know, gradually he really became active in establishing rapper Kanye, right? MC Kanye. And of course, his first album, College Dropout, right? Classic masterpiece. But when I did that song with him for my album, the I Gotta Love joint, that was around the time that College Dropout was also about to come out, right? He had that song about some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, right, and then he had like a bunch of songs. But what I remember was the situation that I was told was that in terms of on his side, the label, and I don't feel any bitter way about it. This is just how things work. Was that even though we knew that when I went to do this song with him, it was supposed to be a single, right? Like, because if I'm gonna do a song with Kanye and he's producing, naturally I'm gonna think, yo, this is the single, right? Like, why would I go to Kanye just for an album cut, right? Nothing against an album cut. But anyhow, we do the song, and as we're preparing to kind of, you know, to move forward with it, I'm getting all choked up. Yo, no choke. No choke TV.
No choke TV. Jin, no choke.
No choke. I'm choking. But the funny thing is I'm legit choking. But no, I was gonna say, long story short, I appreciate you. Long story short, Rockefeller, I believe at the time, was like, yo, we'll clear the song for the album, but we probably won't clear it to be released as a single. And yo, at the time, I definitely was like, it was a big blow to me, because I thought that record was so dope. And I knew that if we dropped that as a single, it definitely would would have shifted the whole narrative, right? But it is what it is, man. I trust, now we're so many years removed from it, I trust everything that happens, and I'm glad that in all of these situations, that whatever plan God had, I'm just glad it went that way as opposed to even what I wanted. Because if it ended up being what I wanted, it probably would have been worse on the ultimate end. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And after all that, I see you move to Hong Kong.
Yes.
What sparked that?
Yeah, there was a period of time where, just to put it into a timeline, right? So that Rough Rider album came out in 04. And then from 04 to 05, I was still on the label. And we were just kind of figuring out what next, right? And I could feel that, how do I put it? It wasn't like tension, but I could feel from myself, me, my manager, my camp, right? And then even from the label, Double R, the CEOs, I could feel that there was slowly like a disconnect. Not in a bad way, but just because at the time the label was trying to figure out what they were gonna do. They had a lot of things they needed to sort out as well. But ultimately, after a year or so passed by, around 05, 06, I just had a sit down with the CEOs, and we were just on the same page as far as like, you know what, we gave it a shot, but maybe it's time to part ways, right? We go this way, you go that way. And that's literally how it happened. So around 06, I parted ways with the R. And then I continued to do music, but a complete change. Like I went from being on Double R and having distribution and having budgets to basically going back to zero, right? Like I was like, yo, I still have this drive and this fire in me. So, I just kind of took it all back into my own hands. So I still created, I made an album, or I made albums, but just went straight to the fans, I guess you could say, which seems to be the way to do, everybody's doing it now, right? Like now, especially now with technology, definitely it's like, yo, some dudes are like, I don't even need a label. As long as I have my platform that I can get my music straight to my fans, right? Then I'm good. So at that time, this is before Spotify, it's before streaming services. So it's really different. You know what I had? I had a MySpace page. So basically on my MySpace page, I was able to kind of gather all of the people that still rocked with me and, followed my career. I was like, yo, I got this album. If y'all want, you could PayPal me $10, I'll mail it to you. So I kind of, I navigated it like that. Now, how did Hong Kong happen? Hong Kong was like about a year or two after this period where I really, to be honest, man, I've shared this before. It was getting really discouraging. I was still grateful that I had my fans, but I'm in this kind of weird space where I'm not at zero, but I'm also not popping by no means, right? So you're in this middle ground where you're just like, dang, like, it's like a weird place to be.
Trying to figure things out.
You're trying to figure things out, yeah. So then what happened in 08 is I had an opportunity to go to Hong Kong and to do music there, but in Cantonese. So all along, I'm just rhyming in English, creating in English. But I went out there, I really looked at it as just maybe, I guess the word would be an experiment. Like I was like, I'll come out here for 3 months, 6 months, maybe, try to get as many, shows as I can, and then move from there. But no, God had another plan. Yo, I ended up staying there for like 4 years. So I was out there for like 4 years. And then I came back.
Then you came back and you started getting into the movies.
Well, yeah. So the movie thing is, I think it's also an interesting part of my journey. So my first kind of acting big break, right? My acting big break was around the same time that the Freestyle Friday thing happened as well. Like around like the early 2000s. And it just so happened that my big break was in like probably like one of the most worldwide recognized franchises, right? Yes. It was in, the second Fast and the Furious, which, I mean, this just goes to show you how many years ago it was, because now it's like part 9 coming out. I think they said there's going to be 10 and 11. But the one that I was in was part 2. And at the time, I was excited and I made the most of the opportunity. But I think even then, acting and the art of acting and the craft of acting, it wasn't necessarily something that I really focused and zeroed on. But in the last few years, I've definitely, I really gravitated towards it. And I'm like, yo, I really want to grow in this. So all that means is just, taking lessons and really like just sharpening my tools more in that art. Yeah.
I see you had a movie last year, but before I get into that, I just wanted to ask you, what made you start acting? Because I see you're a very talented man. Like
I'm trying. Well, you know,
you work.
I think there's definitely like a core connection amongst all these things, right? Whether it's the rapping, the acting. Yo, I even kind of dipped my toe into doing stand-up comedy like a few years back. So
really? Wilding Out.
Yeah, well, Wilding Out is part of it, but I'm saying like all of this is connected. Yeah, it's just really performance, right? It's just performance. It's expression. But to answer your question about acting, you know, I think about people like LL Cool J, right? I think about Will Smith. I think about Ice-T, Ice Cube, even in terms of like people who were rooted in hip hop. And then these are all MCs, but then they also were able to break out of just that MC thing. And without a doubt, these are actors, right? Like these are actors. So these aren't just rappers who act. Do you see what I'm saying? These are actors. There's a difference.
Yes.
It's like, oh yeah, that's
this is what
rapper,
they do.
he be acting. Yeah, but no,
this is what they do.
This is an actor. Yes. Now he can still go to the studio and he can still do his thing when it's time to get back into MC rapper mode. But when he's on a film set, no, this is an actor. Like LL is an actor, you know? So I look at people like that and I'm just like, that's kind of the goal for me, is I know that by definition, people will see me as, yo, he be freestyling, that's MC Jin, you know, I see that too. But yo, the ultimate goal would be to one day have people know me from acting first. And then they'll be like, oh, this guy also raps? You see what I'm saying?
But I'm saying the new generation, they see you as an actor because you just did Monster Hunter. So
yes, so Monster Hunter was like the most recent joint. Yo, speaking of rappers that act and who are also actors, yo, T.I., right? Okay, so I'm thinking T.I., I'm thinking Luda. So Luda's not in Monster Hunter, but T.I. is in it. But I'm saying just both of these individuals who, you know, maybe when they first started diving into acting, there is a preconceived vibe already, right? People are like, oh, here's another actor. I mean, here's another rapper who's trying to act. But if you look at just their body of work, I don't know if you've seen these movies, but if you look at Ludacris in that movie Crash, do you remember that joint? Crash?
Yeah, I've seen that. That was a great movie.
Amazing movie. Amazing cast. Luda, that's one where you're like, okay, this is not really Ludacris, right? Like this is not a rapper trying to act. This is an actor, right? And then if you look at T.I. in American Gangster,
he turned it up a notch in that movie.
Another classic, right? And and he's sharing screen time with Denzel, the GOAT. So, you know, it's even more challenging. I can't even imagine being on set with Denzel.
Better come with your A game.
Yeah, you gotta bring your A+++ game. So, but Monster Hunter was dope, man. Like we shot it actually like 3 years ago. We shot it back in like 2018.
Oh, really?
Roughly, yeah. But they had to do a lot of like post-production. And then even with like the pandemic last year, that kind of shifted a lot of the release dates for the movie, how they would release it. But I'm glad that people finally get to watch it because it was fun making it. And yo, it was a lot of hard work. Not even just for me, but I think the whole crew and cast. When you make those type of scale of movies, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you got the CGI, you got these incredibly huge, like, have you seen it? Have you seen it yet?
Nah, I haven't seen it.
So I'm not gonna say anything about the story, but yo, to anybody watching this, I think it's, you know, it's a fun movie to check out. It's I mean, like I said, T.I.'s in it, Megan Good's in it. The main actress, the main character, Mila Jovovich. So she's from all of the Resident Evil joints, right? Like everybody knows her from that. But she's been, yo, she's an OG and she's an icon too. I mean, she was in Fifth Element. That joint was a masterpiece. She was mad young in Fifth Element.
That movie had a lot of good actors in it. That's why it brought me to it. But I see we have a connection though.
What's the connection?
You got married in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
I'm Puerto Rican, so you know I was like, oh yes. Wow, my man.
So yeah, shout out to all the Boricuas out there. Shout out to, you know, just everybody that has ever been to Puerto Rico. So the reason that we actually did we did like a destination wedding, me and my wife. We just hit 10 years, so shout out to that. But we met in Puerto Rico. And
like, really?
So we met there, but I wouldn't say that that's where we hit it off. Because when we met there, it literally was just like a 3-minute interaction. I was in Puerto Rico for this like a music summit, like a DJ summit. So they had all the DJs from all over the country gather in Puerto Rico. And then all the record labels would bring their artists there to perform and talk about, yo, this is our new record coming out. This is the new album. These are new artists. So I was there as a performer with Double R. My wife, well, she wasn't my wife then. She's my wife now, mother of my children. She was there working with the kind of the organization that was hosting the event. So she's basically the person that's at the table when you show up at the hotel, you're at the lobby, and she's like, all right, here's your pass, here's your room keys, here's your credentials. So she was doing that. So I remember walking up to the table and we had a moment where we were just like, I think we're the only Chinese people here, on the island. So we had a moment, but I don't think it was like, I don't even remember it being flirty, like for either one of us. It was just like a cute moment. But then like we crossed paths again, like maybe like 6 or 7 months later in New York. So we bump heads in Puerto Rico, but then later on we both find out that, oh, you live in New York, I live in New York, and we cross paths again. And then from there, that's when the courtship happened. You know, hey, you know, you want to go, you watch movies? You like watch, let's go watch a movie. You know, oh, after the movie, you want to go get a bite to eat? Yeah, let's go get a bite to eat.
It is. And then y'all story starts from there. That's what all the butterflies.
When we were planning our wedding, it was just like right away. We're gonna take it back. We're gonna take it back to where it all started. Puerto Rico. Oh.
Yeah, Jin, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, man.
Indeed. Thank you for having me. I'm glad I think there's something really cool about just these type of connections, right?
Yes.
Where sometimes I know you reach out to certain people and you know, you have to be at peace with whatever their response is, right? You reach out with a good intention and you don't know what's going on their end too, right? Like sometimes they may be like, yo, I can't do this right now. And it might not be because they don't want to do it. It's just because they can't. But then sometimes, you know, like you never know. The person might be like, yo, I'd love to do it, you know? And then, but just being at peace with whatever the ultimate outcome is, you know. But I'm glad that you hit me up about it, man. Yo, I'm excited to be here on your platform, man.
And I appreciate you taking the interview. I really do.
Yeah. Yo, I love, you know what this is though? This is different. This is not just an interview. This is a Jinterview.
A Jinterview? All right, that's how I'm gonna title it too. The Jinterview. This
is an exclusive Jinterview.
Jinterview?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna name it that too.
I appreciate you though, man. All the best with everything. Yo, really quick. So speaking of just like creating and wanting to share about stuff. So I did launch my podcast like about 2-3 weeks ago. So I try to do a new episode every Monday. So my podcast is called Under the Jinfluence.
Under the Jinfluence, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure y'all go watch that.
Oh yeah, check it out. It's on YouTube as well as if you listen to podcasts on Spotify, it's up on Spotify right now too. I'm trying to get it on more platforms, so hopefully, slowly but surely, I can get it out to everywhere.
Yeah,
I like what you got going on in the back though, the bricks. And,
oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
I can't see the whole poster, but I see character. I see destiny.
Yo, I get girls, who you try to diss, man? He masturbates so much he had to rock a wristband. You got guns, point him away. He's so played out, I thought he was the old school joint of the day. I got fans across the country, Jin is who they feeling. Last time he had a fan, it was spinning on the ceiling. I go online and check my Hotmail. He go on the internet looking for hot mails. You ain't a hustler, your man's copping the work. He be at the club like Tweet dropping his skirt. Oops, I didn't know, my freestyle tear it up. You up on stage, but it's a pity though. Don't make me spit in your mouth like Missy's old video. I'm nice with it. Taliban, cause that's the only way you'll get flexed to drop a bomb. When they retire me and I land in the booth, you'll be outside trying to shake hands with Scoop. You got 6 victories, I wonder if this'll hurt. The closest you'll get to 7 is the number on his shirt. Yeah, I'm Chinese, now you understand it. I'm the reason that his little sister eyes are slanted. If you make one joke about rights or karate, NYPD be in Chinatown searching for your body. Ask Free, he'll tell you to duck. Harlem Shake was a drink from Uptown. What you wanna do, son? I'm ill when I spit. I'm telling you right now. Yo, you ain't legit, cause when I finish spitting. Yo, if the rap game is whack, everybody's blaming you. You from Brooklyn? The Biggie must be ashamed of you. Cause I'm a freestyle, show you how it is. Matter of fact, you from BK? I heard they murder things. Only time he see beef is when he go to Burger King. I'm a player in the game, you cheering in the stands. Matter of fact, Grown men in tight uniforms. I'm freestyling when I'm kicking it. So ridiculous. Put yourself in the bad predicament. By the way, my little sister has something to say. There's no way you'll be my brother on Freestyle Friday. Cause I'm in.
All right, come back.
Ready? Yo, you a sucker and I mean it, kid. My girl would never go with you cause she don't like guys with small penises. Don't make me have to come at you. Hey yo, cause as a rapper, you really don't have a chance. Better off asking Nelson to teach you how to dance. My freestyle's about to tear you up. I'm really something that you're not used to. He the first one to open a fortune cookie saying you're a loser. 4 more weeks and I'm in a Hall of Fame with Poster Boy. Then you can join my street team and put up posters, boy. You ain't close to me. My manager's about to get me a deal. His manager is bagging groceries. Claim you clap guns. Super soakers make noise. He the type to play strip poker with his boys. Yo, check. You wanna say I'm Chinese? Sonny, here's a reminder. Check your Timbs, they probably say made in China. Don't make me get on his tip and straight kill ya. His name is Dolan, cause all he rocks is silver. Do you stop following trends? Your girl must love alcohol cause she be swallowing gin. Yo, I'm about to flip the script when it's coming to it. Hey yo, you see me spitting on the block, you run into it. This is 106 in Park, I'm a hard act to follow. You an amateur, you go to the Apollo. Cause I'm freestyling, know when I'm done. Son, you ain't a baller, tell the audience the truth. I saw him breakdancing for spare change on 42. Yeah, come on, see? I really don't know what you're doing. He got a Kobe Bryant jersey on, but look more like a light-skinned Patrick Ewing. I'm nice with it when I'm spitting. Come on, in a week or so, I'll be spitting on the Swiss beats, while you'll be at the bodega asking for Swiss cheese. I'm nice with it, freestyle. Come on, you wanna talk about guns? That's why you get your stutter on. Only Toasty Pack is the kind you put butter on. I'm nice with it when I'm free. Come on, yo, check it out. Ask your girl, I was doing something in the house. Matter of fact, she had my egg roll and my dumplings in her mouth. Next time you see her, bring extra protection. Next time you see her, it's a rap. Okay, artists, and I ain't hating on you. Stop lying, Miss Cleo is more Jamaican than you. I'm nice with it when I'm freeing. Who you think you being? My pants are new, my sweater is new. Don't be mad at Chinese kid dressed better than you. Man, I'm freestyling now, it's a rap. Matter of fact, you should ask Clef how to make your flow tighter. Better yet, pay him 20 G's to be your ghostwriter. I'm nice when I'm freeing, you ain't beating me. Matter of fact, I'll be at buffets and you ain't eating me. Don't make me start rapping in Chinese on the microphone. Like Bono Payla, that means take your sorry butt home.
Set it on him. Loosen up.
Yo, come on.
I don't listen to that.
Naming yourself after a movie? What the fuck is a Matrix? Trying to challenge Jin to a battle, then be scared to say shit. Ain't going down like that. You pushing yourself too far. You about to lose and the cameraman gonna be bored. I'm coming off the top. Make sure my lines is hitting. Not like these youngins battle these days with their writtens. Off the top of the dome. Trying to call me out, not when I'm home. You think I don't got love and why, yo? Wanna battle me? Why, ho? I don't know, man, cause I'm nice. Leave you with a tooth chip. That's a small toothpick. Loose lips like you sink ships. Battling Jin, you better think quick. Cause when I come to the studio, I spit in the booth. But I could battle you here and leave another chip in your tooth. Take your dumb staff off. You ain't hating this rice. You hating I'm nice. Better off shaking the dice. This a real MC. You know Callion and Jin spitting off the top. Come on, man. One ball make your head split. You standing right by the right spot. Look, it says exit.
Hey!
Get the exit sign up. Feeling the crowd. Feeling now.
That's it.
Come on, man. This ain't free time. After I beat you in this battle, bar, press rewind. So I can watch it again. I ain't stopping your friends. And I ain't gonna be like the one, yo, I'm popping your mens. Cause the guns is something that I don't. Cause I ain't see-through. But my bars and my rhymes are just as lethal. So I can hit you. Why I gotta make you look bad? Losing a battle to a Chinese kid with a book.
Man, Tesh's garage is ridiculous. He's got the best of everything. Snap-on tools. All these lifts are brand new. They're only maybe a couple months old. Hey, yo, Jimmy. What's up, man?
What up, Bullet?
Hey, that's Rome right there. Do me a favor. When you get a second, I want you to check out the Evo and the Spider and make sure everything's copacetic.
Evo? Where'd you get an Evo from?
Well, it's a long story.
I got you, man.
All right, thanks, Jimmy.
Come check this out. Man, it's so hot and humid out here, I can't even wear no drawers.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Look at all this potential out here.
I be freestyling every now and again, right? And it's fun, you know. I like it's almost like a fighting game with my friends or something like that, and it's like super multiplayer.
Nice.
And every now and again, I'll get like stuck on a word or something like that. What goes through your mind whenever you're trying to find something to rhyme with the next one?
Oh, I got the answer. Especially when it comes to freestyling, I think it's important to, if I could borrow a philosophy from the most iconic, forget Asian American, forget Asian individual, just one of the most iconic humans, at least from my perspective, the legendary, the late great Bruce Lee. Just the idea of being water. It's crazy because like there's so many things that I could take from Bruce's philosophies and the way he treats martial arts and the way he treats life. But as it ties into your question of freestyling, it's essentially one and the same, right? Like Bruce has always had this iconic phrase where he's like, be water, right? You put water into the cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a pot, it becomes the pot. Water can crash, water can carry. And it's just like, whoa. Now, how I apply that to freestyling, same thing, right? In regards to like the true art of freestyling is not being bound by anything, even the words. So to answer your question, yeah, there is like a default mode where you're like, this next line has to somehow connect with this previous line. But truth be told, it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like the dopest freestylers, right? Like stylistically or even just in terms of like as an art form, they'll be able to manage navigating through moments where they don't have the rhyming word, but because they don't exhibit it as they're flowing, whether it's a cappella or on beat, that the general audience won't even catch it just because of the way that they were able to be water, right? Like they didn't let the fact that they didn't have a word to rhyme confine them to that particular moment to where the audience would be like, oh, he stumbled, he lost it. Nah, the true freestyler, the true be water freestyler, man, they just flowing through it, right? And sometimes it might not even be a word. Like if you don't have the word, you could do, there's no rules. Like you could just be like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, hey, like, you know what I mean? You throw a sound in there, you step away from the mic, you step away from the cipher, whatever, you cough. Imagine that. Like you're like, I'll be coming up with these rhymes just because it's all up in my mind. But sometimes when I try to combine these lines, it's and then I go back into the flow and nobody even knows that I couldn't think of something to rhyme, right? They just be like, oh, you saw the way he coughed and then got back into the rhyme, right? So for me, it's just like what I'm describing to you, Ko, is obviously something that I don't want to say I studied all my life, but it's just become a way of life, which goes back to to Bruce's iconic way of thinking again, right? Like to him, martial arts is not just learning the punches and the kicks and the techniques. It's actually a way of life, right? So I know I probably went deeper than you thought I would, but on topics like that, I'm particularly Jin vested.